Welcome, Duke University Class of 2024. We are so excited to have the opportunity to work with you for these next few years and to share your lives with you for these next few years. You are among the best in the world, and we're so excited that you're going to be with us. I realize the circumstances in these next few months at least, and possibly a couple of years, are unprecedented. I mean, unprecedented in your lives. I'm pushing 50, unprecedented in my lives. I'm sorry about that, but I'm still excited that we'll get to work through these challenging and different sorts of times together. So I'm here to tell you about what you'll get from Duke. And what you'll get from Duke is a liberal arts education in a research environment. So let me start by saying, what is liberal arts? You probably hear this term all the time. What that is a broad education spanning all the various disciplines. So spanning the arts, the humanities, the social sciences, the performance, natural sciences, math, things like that. And even if you're pre-professional, let's say you're pre-law, pre-business, pre-medical, whatever, you're going to learn something about everything and just have a very well-rounded education. And what we do to promote that is we offer you some choices of classes in various areas. So we have these categories that we call areas of knowledge, which would have things like arts, literature, and performance, civilizations, social sciences, etc. We have things like modes of inquiry, different ways of approaching problems, and you'll get the opportunity to really learn from those. We have requirements in the context of writing and in the context of learning about research, but this is really your chance to experience the world. This is potentially the last chance for you to explore subjects across all disciplines full time without having to focus so much on one particular track or on a full-time job. So I myself had a liberal arts education, not from Duke, but from someplace else. And I'll tell you a little bit about what it meant for me. I took a class in philosophy in my first year. And one of the things I learned from that was about Plato's cave allegory. If you don't know what that is, you should look it up. It's a really interesting way of visualizing the difference between reality and how we perceive reality. And that's something I've actually brought to my teaching. It's something that I've brought to how I approach research problems. It's actually quite powerful. And it's something I wouldn't have gotten from a very technical education. I also took classes in psychology where I learned about groupthink in my organizational behavior class. Fascinating. And it's again something I think about every time I'm in a committee meeting, anytime I see different groups coming together with one single platform, I think, could this be from that? It's really fascinating, this breadth of perspective you get from a liberal arts education. Honestly, even I had a PE requirement, and even with that, I mean, I learned so much about how to have a really good workout. I learned a lot about nutrition that I didn't know. It's great. Now, we live in a time of a lot of turmoil, as you all know. Some of this is, of course, related to the COVID-19 outbreak that we're facing, but a lot of it is understanding and fighting the structural racism in our community. If you don't know the history and context associated with other cultures, then, and I should say that's exactly what you get from a liberal arts education, then it's exceedingly hard to make any real progress on these things. And we want to make progress. We want to fight this. The humanities and social sciences matter. They save lives. They help build communities. It's very, very important that you get that strong basis. Meanwhile, of course, the natural sciences are critical for understanding disease, as we're facing, but also other problems that we're having on a planetary scale, such as global climate change. Clearly, these are important too. Now, putting all these things together, the quantitative sciences are critical for helping us distinguish reality from noise in all these kinds of problems. So again, a liberal arts education is going to give you this world view to help you address anything in any career. It will help you, I promise. Now, we're not just a liberal arts school. There are many of those here in the United States, but we're also, very importantly, a research university. As you take classes and as you have interactions with professors and other students, you'll find that these are people who are not only teaching about the knowledge, but they're the ones who created the scholarship, created the performances, all those things that you are learning. You can get firsthand accounts of, how this knowledge came to be, of how this performance was put together, all these things. It's phenomenal that you can do that. And importantly, and this is potentially even more important, you will have the opportunity to do this. You will have the opportunity to identify problems in our world and help make progress that all the world has the ability to access. You'll get the opportunity to work closely with faculty and other students to push the frontiers. Now, what we have as a research university, we have amazing expertise, both in our faculty and in our students. We have financial resources. We have the research infrastructure in the natural sciences. We have the equipment that you need. We have an excellent library. This is not true everywhere. So I urge you, while you're here, seek out opportunities for independent research. This is one of the main reasons to be here at Duke University, because again, we can provide you a liberal arts education in a research environment. And that is something you won't get at every other university. You get to advance knowledge and learn by doing. Now that you're here, what should you do to take full advantage of it? Well, the first one, I'm going to quote Woody Allen, is 80% of success is showing up. So go to class and do the work. I mean, I've seen this in my own courses too, that if you do a correlation of fraction of times attending class versus grade, there's a linear relationship there. Show up for class. Even if it's online, show up for class, be there, be attentive, participate. The second, you're going to have advisors assigned to you to help you with course selection, to help you with problems. You have an academic dean. Use them, but I want you to remember, everyone at Duke is your mentor, not just those couple of people, okay? Find people that will help you explore. Find people that will help you break new ground. Find people that will help you solve problems. And this doesn't necessarily have to be just in the context of a class, but if you see somebody who you hear is giving a talk, and it's a subject that's really interesting, reach out to them. Ask them if they can do a coffee, potentially virtual if we're still in the middle of a pandemic, but ask if you can have a chat. And it's totally fine. We love that. We love interacting with students. And very importantly, if you're having challenges, let us know. So I went to a liberal arts college. I'll give you a couple of examples from my own experience, but I'll also tell you some of my experiences here at Duke with some of the students. So I mentioned before that I took a PE class that helped a lot with workouts. 10 years after I graduated, I saw a news story that gave different recommendations from what I learned in my class on how you're supposed to exercise. You know what I did? I wrote to my old professor from 10 years earlier and said, hey, I saw this news story. This is different from what I learned from you. What do you think? And he wrote me back within a day saying, you know what, 10 years have passed. We have a lot of new scholarship, and what I gave you was true for the time. Now the news story is exactly right. You should follow that kind of workout. That's great. I also had a research supervisor that I worked with for my last year of college. This is somebody who I had a very, very, very close relationship with in my last year. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. He is somebody who I still interact with all the time. I actually just looked through my emails a little bit ago. I have 10 emails I've exchanged with him in the past month. Some on science, some on life, some on Star Trek, some on everything. These are lifelong connections you're going to be building here, not just with faculty, but with other students as well. So we can help you. We can help you, and the more you get to know us, the more we are able to help you. What we don't want to do is we don't want to just stand in front of you and lecture to you all the time. We want to get to know you and actually help you achieve your goals at Duke and beyond. So I'll give you an example. I had a student who worked with me, this is maybe about 10 years ago or so. She did not get the position she wanted right after graduating. And she reached out to me afterwards and said, hey, I'm really sad I didn't get this thing. This is the stuff I'm interested in. I told her, actually, you know what? I'm going to Washington, D.C. for a day trip in about a month from now. Why don't you come with me? I know a few people who do kind of work similar to what you're interested in. I'll set up some appointments with you. We can fly together and fly back the same day. So we did that. She did her thing. I did my thing. We met up at Chinatown before going back to the airport to fly back. And I asked her, so how did it go? Yeah, she said, yeah, all three of them offered me jobs. So again, really, the more you engage with us, the more we can help you. The third point is ask questions, and this relates to the previous one. Tell students and faculty what your struggles are and get input. And this is really important in the context of classes. I often have students coming to me at the end of the semester saying, hey, I got an A in your class of 100 people. Can you write me a recommendation letter? And I say, hey, I've never exchanged a word with you before now. I don't know what to put in a recommendation letter besides your grade. That's not good. In contrast, I've had some students who didn't actually work with me, but who I got to know from class, that I could write 3-page detailed recommendations about their successes, what they really understood well, their hopes and dreams. Even if they didn't get an A in my class, I could write them a far better recommendation than if they were somebody who just sat in the back of the room, did the work, and got all A's. the last thing I'm going to tell you is don't beat yourself up. You may not get all A's here at Duke University, and that's okay. I'll tell you, I did not get all A's in college. By far, I did not get all A's in college. In fact, my GPA at the end of second year of college was a 2.8. Nonetheless, I focused, I did a lot of work, I got to know people, and through that, through the strong recommendations I get, and through the turnaround I had in grades in my last 2 years, I applied to 5 graduate programs, including at Harvard University. I got into every single one of them. Grades do matter, but they're not the end-all be-all, so don't beat yourself up over them. And just in general, right now, it's a tough time. It's a tough time in terms of the pandemic. It's a tough time in terms of the social stresses, particularly those from marginalized groups. Do your best to make do, and making do is fine. Again, welcome to Duke University. We are so excited to work with you and to bring you the liberal arts education that you deserve. Please get to know us, reach out to us, and let us help you. Thank you, and have a great day.